Robertson, and my mentor is Paula Krieger, and my project is titled Knock Knock Who's There? I am the Gordon Art Fellow for the summer of 2015, so my project is primarily artistic, but it also incorporates science. I thought it was fitting to open my presentation with a knock-knock joke. So, knock-knock.
Who's there?
Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Do you know how to tell a knock-knock joke?
No.
Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Knock-knock.
Knock-knock who?
Very good. Obviously, it's a woodpecker. And this is awkward because those were obviously pity laughs. So, my project primarily aims to showcase the woodpeckers that are native to Michigan through linoleum prints. Preferably, there'll be woodpeckers that actually dwell in the woods here at PCCI. My project also, a big part of it, is understanding why we still continue to have natural illustration in an age where we all carry around a camera in our back pocket. Why is it we record subjects and species with natural illustration when we have photography at our disposal and Photoshop and other digital means of recording something? And finally, my project also aims to inspire interest in not only woodpeckers here, but the bird population in general. It kind of goes along hand in hand with what Whitney and Darian were saying with conservation efforts. When we draw attention to the bird population, we aim to conserve it, especially when it's been declining across Michigan. So the first part of my project has to do with research. I spend a lot of time studying field guides, especially Peterson's and Sibley's field guides. I read a lot of publications and a lot of books, attempting to understand the behavior of birds and their structure, how bones and muscles connect to the feathers, and that it creates a better picture of this bird as it comes out in the illustration. I also study a lot of stock photography, and I take my own photos of the woodpeckers here at Pierce Cedar Creek. I've had trouble the pileated woodpeckers here, as they're very elusive, but I hear them often. And I also mark locations of the woodpeckers I find on a GPS unit so that we can map out their territories and understand where you're more likely to find them red-bellied as opposed to pileated. The second part of my process is sketching. I sketch a lot. Using pen, graphite, marker, colored pencil, I use all sorts of mediums. But I seek to understand the bird, the structure, everything beneath the surface of the feathers, because that creates a better picture ultimately. And then the final part of my process is block printing. And block printing can get a little bit technical, so I've condensed it down to 8 steps. So hopefully by the end of this presentation, you're able to really understand what block printing is. So the beginning of it is you take a sketch like this, and it starts out as a preliminary sketch. And after eliminating certain features and adding certain features and getting it to the best composition that it can be, you are ready to move on to transferring it to the linoleum block. And this linoleum block isn't quite like the floor tile you'll find in your home. It's a little bit denser, it's a little bit more rigid, and so when you transfer it over, you use red carbon copy paper, and as you draw over your sketch, it will transfer the lines over to the linoleum block. After transferring, you'll carve. So there are different tools you can use with different edges. Some are more round, some are more V-shaped, but it all depends on how much you want to take out of the carving. So you'll end up with a pile of linoleum shavings and something that looks like this. Everything that's been carved out you will not see in the print, and that's negative space. And then the fourth stage is inking, and personally this is my favorite because you can create some pretty wild colors, and you probably won't create a purple woodpecker or anything like that, but it's really fun to play around with the colors of it. So as you mix inks here, with palette knives, and then you roll the inks out, and that's a brayer. You will roll the ink onto the carving that you have. And as you can see, the red is covering everything that hasn't been carved. And then, after registering your block to the table, which just means aligning it to the paper in the table so it comes out looking straight on the page, you apply pressure using a bearing. And this usually takes about a minute as you rub pressure so that the ink adheres to the paper. And then finally, it's the reveal. And this is a pretty exciting part of this process. It definitely is, because after you've sketched and after you've carved and gone through all of the prep work, finally you get to see what you've created. But it doesn't necessarily stop there. You can add watercolor or oils depending on your preference. I found that they each have their advantages and disadvantages, but they come out looking like some pretty cool products. And then I included cleanup as a step because it's almost as extensive and as intensive as the rest of the process of block printing. It gets very, very messy, and the ink is kind of hard to control, as you can see from the shot of my hand. So cleanup is definitely a big process, keeping your tools clean and everything like that. And so here are some of the products of the red-headed woodpecker, which I chose to focus on for my first woodpecker. I've definitely made a lot of discoveries in this process, from understanding the anatomy of a bird better, understanding how to compose a photo and examine it with a more critical eye. I definitely have, there's been a ton of value to be able to speak to other natural illustrators and talk to them and ask for career advice, because it's something that I've definitely been looking into. And I've definitely learned patience. You don't really know the meaning, well maybe you do, of the word patience until you spend hours out there birding and looking for woodpeckers and chasing them and trying to find them in the trees. As far as my future plans go, I definitely will illustrate a northern flicker and a pileated woodpecker. I hope to do another woodpecker in addition to these two, but that's if time allows. I will mat and frame the linoleum prints and donate them to Pure Cedar Creek, and the rest of them will be sold in the gift shop. And I also plan to compose an essay detailing the benefits of natural illustration and why it's still used in an age of photography. So that's my presentation. Do you have any questions? Go ahead, Nate.
When you ink the linoleum, do you do it with a motion for the page? Do you like do all men?
You can play around with color. So far I've just done solid colors, but you can mix the ink so it transitions from yellow to green if you want. So there's a gradation there. So there's a lot of creativity as far as that's concerned. Yeah, Alice?
So when you're starting to carve the linoleum, do you ever stop in the middle of your carving and test it out with ink and put a piece of paper on it to see like, oh, this one's too deep here and I want to go deeper on this carving? Or
I tend not to, just because the ink, once it's on the block, it tends to stain the block. And there's only so much that you can clean off of the block. So pretty much have to visualize it prior and then only make little changes after you've completed the block. Yes?
This is just an opinion question, but
Yeah.
because you're an artist and a birder, do you find that the field guides that have the illustrations are better or the photographs?
So I think, as far as that question goes, the field guides are better for the most part at illustrating all the essential parts of the bird. Photographs, one of the drawbacks to photographs is you can only capture so many features of the bird, and the field guides tend to illustrate all the essential features so you get a better understanding. Yeah. Yes?
Are you allowed to, or have you tried to use electronic calls to get closer looks?
I have not tried that.
Pileated woodpeckers sometimes respond very aggressively.
I will look into that for sure.